Ring, ring, ring.
The phone screamed at Grandma Rose like an angry bird. She was making her morning coffee, just like she did every day for 70 years. But this call would change everything. "Hello," Rose said, stirring sugar into her cup. "Grandma." Danny's voice was loud and mad. "What did you do?" "You changed the password. Sarah can't buy groceries. The kids need to eat." Rose almost dropped her coffee. "What password, honey? I didn't change anything." "Don't lie to me," Danny shouted. "Sarah went to the store, and your card got rejected. She's standing there looking stupid while people stare. Fix it." Rose's hands started shaking. Danny had never talked to her like this before. Not her sweet little boy who used to bring her dandelions and say, "I love you, Mama," every night. If this story made your heart race already, smash that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and subscribe for more shocking true stories. "Danny, calm down," Rose said. "Let me check my bank account." She walked to her computer, the same one Danny taught her to use last year. Her fingers moved slowly across the keys. When the bank page opened, Rose's heart stopped. $847.32. That's all that was left. But yesterday she had $3,200. Where did her money go? "Grandma, are you there?" Danny's voice sounded different now. Worried. Fake worried. "Danny, my money. There's almost nothing left."
What?
"That's impossible. You probably looked at the wrong account." But Rose knew her own money. She'd been saving for 50 years. Every penny from her husband's life insurance. Every dollar from cleaning houses after he died. Every birthday check from her sister in Florida.
Gone.
She scrolled down to see where her money went. Her eyes got big and scared. Yesterday, $156.78, Tony's Pizza Palace. Yesterday, $89.43, Fashion World Clothing. Yesterday, $234.12, gas station on Mill Street. Yesterday, $567.99, Electronics Express. Rose had never been to any of these places yesterday. She was home all day watching her TV shows and watering her plants. She remembered. "Danny," her voice was very quiet now. "Did you take my card to Tony's Pizza yesterday?" Silence. Long, scary silence. "What are you talking about? We didn't go anywhere." But Rose remembered. She remembered Sarah asking to borrow her card last week for just milk and bread. She remembered Danny saying, "Mom, you don't need to worry about money stuff anymore. We'll handle it." She remembered how they both smiled when she gave them the card. The same smile her cat made when it caught a mouse. "I need my card back," Rose said. "Grandma, you're getting confused. Old people forget things. Sarah uses your card to help you. She buys your food, your medicine. You should be grateful." Grateful? Rose had lived through a war, raised 4 kids alone, and worked 3 jobs to keep them fed. She wasn't confused. She was being robbed.
By her own family.
"Bring me my card right now," Rose said, using her mother voice, the same voice that made Danny clean his room when he was 7. "You know what?
Fine.
Sarah's coming over. But you better apologize to her. She's crying because you don't trust her. She does everything for you."
The phone went dead.
Rose sat in her kitchen, the same kitchen where she'd fed Danny soup when he was sick, where she'd helped him with homework, where she'd celebrated every birthday and holiday for 38 years. Now it felt like a trap. 20 minutes later, she heard the key in her front door. Their key, because they lived with her now. Because Danny lost his job and needed help. Because Sarah was too stressed to work. Because they needed a place to stay, just until things got better. That was 2 years ago. Grandma Rose. Sarah's voice was sweet like honey, but Rose could hear the fake in it now. "Danny told me you're upset about the card." "I'm so sorry. Let me explain everything." Sarah walked into the kitchen with her arms full of shopping bags. Expensive bags. Her hair was done perfectly, her nails painted bright red, and she wore a dress Rose had never seen before. "Where did you get that dress?" Rose asked. Sarah's face turned pink. "Oh, this old thing? I've had it forever." but the price tag was still hanging from the sleeve. $127.99. Sarah, sit down. We need to talk. Grandma, I know you're worried, but dash. Sit down. Sarah sat. Her sweet smile was gone now. I want to see every receipt from yesterday. Every single one. I don't save receipts. Who saves receipts? People who spend other people's money save receipts, Rose said. That's what honest people do. Sarah's eyes got hard and mean. Are you calling me a thief? I'm calling you a liar. And I'm calling my son a liar too. Just then, Danny burst through the kitchen door. His face was red and angry. Enough, he shouted. Mom, you're embarrassing us. Sarah works her butt off taking care of you. And this is how you treat her? She's family. Family doesn't steal, Rose said quietly. Steal? Danny laughed, but it wasn't a happy laugh. Mom, you gave us permission to use your card. You said we could help with expenses. I said you could buy groceries. Not pizza parties and fancy clothes and whatever you spent $567 on at the electronics store. Danny and Sarah looked at each other. A quick look. A scared look. Mom, you're getting paranoid. Maybe we should talk to a doctor about your memory.
Those words hit Rose like a slap.
Her memory was fine.
Better than fine.
She remembered every lie they'd told her for months. Get out, she whispered. What? Get out. Both of you. Right now. This is our house too. Sarah screamed. We live here. It's my house. My name on the deed. My money paying the bills. And you're thieves. Danny stepped toward her, his face scary and mean. Mom, you better calm down. You don't want to make us angry. We take care of you. Without us, you'd be all alone. Nobody else wants to deal with a crazy old woman. Rose looked at her son. Really looked at him. This wasn't the boy she'd raised. This was a stranger. A dangerous stranger who wanted her money more than he wanted her love. I want my card back. Now. No, Sarah said. You'll just waste money on stupid stuff. We're protecting you from yourself. And if you keep acting crazy, Danny added, we might have to talk to a lawyer about getting legal control of your finances. For your own good. Rose's blood turned to ice. Legal control. That meant they could take everything. Her house. Her savings. Her freedom. They could put her in a nursing home and spend every penny she'd ever earned. And there was nothing a crazy old woman could do about it. Or was there? Rose walked to the kitchen drawer and pulled out a small notebook. She'd been writing things down for weeks, dates, amounts, lies. She'd thought she was being silly. Now she realized she was being smart. You have 1 hour to bring me my card, she said calmly. Or I'm calling the police. Danny laughed. The police? And tell them what? That your family helps you with shopping? They'll think you're nuts. But Rose was already walking to her bedroom. She locked the door and opened her laptop. Time to learn about something called financial elder abuse. Time to fight back. Because if there was one thing Danny and Sarah forgot about sweet old Grandma Rose, it was this. She didn't survive the Great Depression, raise 4 kids alone, and work 3 jobs by being weak. She was tougher than they knew. And she was done being their victim. Rose sat on her bed with her laptop, fingers shaking as she typed financial elder abuse into Google.
What she found made her stomach feel sick.
Financial elder abuse happens when family members steal money from older people. It's one of the most common crimes in America. Signs include unauthorized use of credit cards, forged signatures, and threats to take away housing. Every word described her life perfectly. She opened her small notebook, the blue one she'd been hiding under her mattress. For 3 months, she'd been writing down strange things. She thought she was being paranoid. Now she knew she was being smart. Page 1. Sarah borrowed $50 for groceries. Came home with no groceries but new shoes. Page 2. Danny said they needed $200 for car repairs. Saw them at fancy restaurant that night. Page 3. Found credit card bill addressed to me. I never signed up for any credit card. 47 pages of lies. 47 pages of theft. Her hands were shaking so hard she could barely turn the pages. Knock, knock, knock.
Mom.
Open the door. Danny's voice was different now. Not angry anymore. Sweet and worried like when he was a little boy with a broken toy. Rose knew this trick. She'd used it herself when Danny was 5 and broke her favorite lamp. Act sweet until the grown-up forgives you. I'm busy, she called back. Mom, please. Sarah's really upset. She's crying. She just wants to help you, and you're being so mean to her. Rose almost opened the door. Almost. Because for 60 years, whenever Danny was sad, Mama Rose fixed it. That's what mamas do. But then she looked at her notebook again. Page 23. Sarah crying about her sick mother needing money. Gave her $500. Later heard her on phone laughing about shopping spree. The crying was fake. Just like everything else. Go away, Danny. I need to think. Think about what? Mom, you're scaring us. Maybe we should call Dr. Peterson. Tell him you're acting confused and paranoid. There it was again. The threat that she was confused. The suggestion that she needed a doctor to declare her mentally unfit. Rose's fingers flew across the computer keyboard. She found an article that made her blood freeze. Adult children often use claims of mental incompetence to gain legal guardianship over elderly parents. Once guardianship is established, they have complete control over the parent's money, medical decisions, and living arrangements. The parent becomes like a child with no rights. They weren't just stealing her money. They were planning to steal her life. She heard Danny and Sarah whispering outside her door. She pressed her ear against the wood. Can't let her call anyone. Maybe we should take her phone? If she goes to the bank. Lawyer said we need documented proof. She's losing it. Rose's heart pounded so loud, she was sure they could hear it. She grabbed her phone and crept to her closet, burying herself behind her winter coats. Time to make some calls. First, she called her bank. Hello, this is Rose Thompson. I need to report unauthorized use of my debit card. The young man on the phone was very nice. I can help you with that, Mrs. Thompson. I see here that your card has been quite active lately. Were you at Tony's Pizza Palace yesterday?
No.
Fashion World Clothing?
No.
Electronics Express for $567.99. Absolutely not. Ma'am, I'm showing 47 unauthorized transactions in the past month, totaling $8,247.32. This appears to be fraud. We'll need to file a police report. Police report. Those words made Rose feel strong and scared at the same time. The card is being used by people who live with me, she whispered. My son and his wife. The banker's voice got serious. Ma'am, that's called financial elder abuse. It's a felony. Even if they're family, they can't use your card without permission. They said I gave them permission. Did you sign anything saying they could spend over $8,000?
No.
I said they could buy groceries. Then it's theft, ma'am. Plain and simple. Rose hung up and immediately called her sister Margaret in Florida. Maggie? It's Rose. I need help. Honey, what's wrong? You sound terrible. Rose told her everything. When she finished, Margaret was quiet for a long minute. Rose, I never liked that Sarah girl. Too sweet, you know? Real sugar doesn't need to convince you it's sweet. What should I do? First, get copies of everything. Bank statements, credit card bills, receipts, everything. Then call the police. Then call a lawyer. But Danny's my son, Maggie. What if I'm wrong? Honey, listen to me. I've known you for 70 years. You're the smartest woman I ever met. If you think something's wrong, something's wrong. After Rose hung up, she felt braver. She crept back to her computer and logged into her bank account again. This time, she printed out 3 months of statements. The truth was worse than she thought. Daily ATM withdrawals at 2 a.m. when Rose was always asleep. Payments to credit cards she'd never seen. Online shopping sprees every single day. Rent payments to an apartment across town whose apartment. They weren't just stealing her money. They were living double lives. Bang, bang, bang. Emma, we know you're in there. Danny's voice was angry again. Open this door right now. We're worried about you, Grandma Rose. Sarah's voice was sickeningly sweet. We just want to make sure you're okay. Rose stuffed all the papers into a pillowcase and shoved it under her bed. I'm fine. Leave me alone. That's it. Danny shouted. Sarah, call Dr. Peterson. Tell him Mom's having a mental health crisis. Tell him she's locked herself in her room and won't eat. I'm eating fine. Rose called back, but she heard Sarah already dialing. Hello, Dr. Peterson? This is Sarah Martinez, Danny Thompson's wife. We're very worried about his mother, Rose. She's acting paranoid and confused. She's locked herself in her bedroom and won't come out. We think she might need to be evaluated. Rose's hands went cold. A mental health evaluation could give them everything they wanted. A doctor's note saying she was unfit to handle her own affairs. She had to act fast. She called 911. 911. What's your emergency? This is Rose Thompson at 1247 Oak Street. I need to report financial elder abuse. My son and daughter-in-law have stolen over $8,000 from my bank account, and now they're trying to have me declared mentally incompetent. Ma'am, are you in immediate danger? Rose looked at her locked bedroom door. She could hear Danny and Sarah arguing about something in loud whispers. I think so. They have keys to my house. They're talking about taking my phone away. Officers are on their way, ma'am. Stay on the line with me. 10 minutes later, Rose heard new voices in her living room. Deep, official voices. Police. We're here about a report of financial abuse. Rose unlocked her bedroom door and walked out with her head high. 2 police officers stood in her living room. Danny and Sarah looked like deer caught in headlights. Are you Mrs. Rose Thompson? The female officer asked. Yes, ma'am. We understand you'd like to file a complaint against these 2 individuals? Danny stepped forward. Officers, my mother is having some kind of mental breakdown. We've been taking care of her, and now she's making up crazy stories about us stealing from her. We were just about to call her doctor. The male officer looked at Rose. Ma'am, do you have evidence of this alleged theft? Rose walked back to her bedroom and pulled the pillowcase from under her bed. She handed the bank statements to the officer. His eyebrows went up as he read. Ma'am, these show numerous unauthorized transactions. Did you make these purchases? No, sir. I've never been to most of these places. The officer looked at Danny and Sarah. Do either of you have Mrs. Thompson's debit card in your possession? Sarah's face turned bright red. Well, yes, but she gave it to us. She wanted us to help with her finances because she's getting forgetful. Do you have written authorization to use this card? Silence. I need to see some ID from both of you, and we'll need to take a statement from Mrs. Thompson. As the officers worked, Rose felt something she hadn't felt in months. Safe. But then Danny whispered something that made her blood run cold. This isn't over, Mom. Sarah and I have been documenting your mental decline for months. We have videos of you being confused. We have a lawyer. And tomorrow, we're filing for emergency guardianship. Rose realized this wasn't the end of her fight. It was just the beginning. The police officers finished taking pictures of Rose's bank statements and left with promises to investigate further. But their faces said what Rose was thinking. Family financial abuse cases were messy, complicated, and hard to prove. Danny and Sarah had to give Rose's debit card back, but they didn't have to leave her house. They lived there legally. Rose felt like a prisoner in her own home. That night, Rose barely slept. Every creak in the house made her jump. Every whispered conversation from the other room made her heart race. At 3 a.m., she heard Sarah on the phone. Yes, Mr. Williams, we have everything documented, videos of her forgetting things, medical records showing confusion. She called the police on her own family. That proves she's paranoid and delusional. Rose crept to her bedroom door and pressed her ear against the wood. Tomorrow? That fast? Yes, emergency guardianship. She's a danger to herself. Can't manage her own finances, living in filth. Living in filth. Rose's house was spotless. She cleaned it every single day. What about the theft charges? Oh, once we're her legal guardians, we can drop those. Family disagreement, not real theft. Yes, We understand the process. Rose's legs felt like jelly. She stumbled back to her bed, her mind spinning with horror. They had planned this for months. Maybe years. The theft was just step 1. Step 2 was making her look crazy. Step 3 was taking complete control of her life. And tomorrow, they were filing papers to make it legal. Rose didn't sleep the rest of the night. As soon as the sun came up, she called her sister Margaret. Maggie, they're trying to get guardianship. They have a lawyer. Slow down, honey. What's guardianship? It means they become like my parents. They control my money, my medical care, where I live, everything. I become like a child with no rights. Margaret was quiet for a scary long time. Rose, you need to get your own lawyer. Today. I don't know any lawyers. Look online. Search for elder law attorney. Find someone who fights this kind of thing. After Rose hung up, she grabbed her laptop with shaking hands. She typed elder law attorney near me and found dozens of names. But which one could she trust? Then she saw something that made her heart jump. Vincent Martinez, attorney at law, specializing in elder financial abuse and illegal guardianship cases. Free consultation. The reviews were amazing. He saved my father from greedy relatives. Best lawyer for seniors in the state. He actually cares about older people. Rose called the number. Martinez Law Office. This is Vincent. Mr. Martinez? My name is Rose Thompson. I think my son and daughter-in-law are trying to steal my house and put me in a nursing home. Mrs. Thompson, can you be in my office in 1 hour? Bring every financial document you have. They're filing guardianship papers today. Then we don't have much time. I'll see you in an hour. Rose hung up and started grabbing papers, bank statements, her secret notebook, medical records, anything that proved she was mentally fine. She heard Danny and Sarah talking in the kitchen. She's been on the phone all morning, Sarah whispered. What if she's calling lawyers? It doesn't matter, Danny replied. Dr. Peterson already signed the mental evaluation form. Judge Morrison owes me a favor from high school. And we have 6 months of videos showing her confusion. Rose's blood turned to ice. They had videos? What videos? She tiptoed to her bedroom window and saw her neighbor, Mrs. Chun, watering her flowers. Rose opened the window. Mrs. Chun, can you help me? Oh, Rose. How are you, dear? I need a ride somewhere very important. Can you drive me? Of course. Let me get my keys. Rose climbed out her bedroom window like a teenager sneaking out of the house. At 70 years old, she was escaping from her own home to save her own life. Mrs. Chin drove her to Vincent Martinez's office. He was a kind-looking man with gray hair and warm brown eyes. His office was filled with pictures of happy elderly people and their families. Mrs. Thompson, tell me everything. Rose poured out the whole story, the stolen money, the fake emergencies, the threats, the guardianship papers. Vincent listened without interrupting. When she finished, his face was serious and angry. Mrs. Thompson, what you're describing is criminal elder abuse with intent to gain permanent control of your assets. It's one of the worst cases I've seen. Can you stop them? We're going to try. But first, I need to ask you some questions to document your mental competence. For the next hour, Vincent asked Rose dozens of questions. What year was it? Who was the president? What was her address? Could she balance a checkbook? Did she understand what guardianship meant? Rose answered every single question perfectly. Mrs. Thompson, you are clearly mentally competent. Your memory is excellent. Your reasoning is sound, and you understand complex financial concepts better than most people half your age. Then why do they think they can do this? Vincent's face got dark. Because the system is designed to protect elderly people, sometimes it protects them right out of their rights. If they can convince a judge that you're confused and paranoid, and that they're loving family members just trying to help. But I have proof they stole from me. They'll say you gave them permission and then forgot about it. They'll say calling the police proves you're paranoid. They'll show videos of you being confused, probably times when they deliberately confused you or caught you off guard. Rose felt sick. So, I'm going to lose. Not if I can help it. We're going to file an emergency counterpetition. We're going to demand they return every penny they stole. And we're going to prove that they're the ones who are dangerous to you. Vincent worked fast. He made phone calls, typed legal documents, and arranged for Rose to see a special doctor who tested elderly people's mental abilities. Mrs. Thompson, I need you to stay somewhere safe tonight. Do you have family or friends who can help? My sister Margaret lives in Florida. Too far. What about Mrs. Chun, your neighbor? I couldn't impose. Mrs. Thompson, this isn't about being polite. Your son and daughter-in-law are planning to take complete control of your life tomorrow. They might try to prevent you from coming to court. They might hide your documents or medication. You need to be somewhere they can't reach you. Rose called Mrs. Chun, who immediately said yes. That evening, Rose sat in Mrs. Chun's living room, drinking tea and trying not to cry. Rose, dear, I always knew something was wrong next door, Mrs. Chun said. I saw them carrying shopping bags into your house every day, but you never seemed happy. You looked scared. Did you really see that? Oh, yes. And I heard arguing late at night. Danny yelling at you, Sarah crying fake tears. I almost called the police myself several times. Would you tell that to a judge? Absolutely. You're a good person, Rose. You don't deserve this. That night, Rose couldn't sleep again. She kept thinking about tomorrow's court hearing. What if the judge believed Danny and Sarah? What if their lawyer was better than Vincent? What if she really did lose control of her own life? At 2 a.m., her phone buzzed. A text message from Danny. Mom, where are you?
Come home.
Let's talk about this like adults.
Sarah's sorry. I'm sorry.
We can work this out without lawyers. Then another text. Mom, you're scaring us. If you don't come home, we'll have to tell the judge you're missing and can't take care of yourself. Then another.
Fine.
Have it your way. But tomorrow, when you're declared incompetent and we become your guardians, remember that you chose this. We try to be nice. Rose showed the text to Mrs. Chun. Rose, those are threats. Save those messages. Show them to your lawyer. Rose forwarded the text to Vincent, who called her immediately. Mrs. Thompson, these texts are evidence of intimidation and emotional abuse. Danny just gave us more ammunition for court. Mr. Martinez, what happens if we lose tomorrow? Vincent was quiet for a moment. Mrs. Thompson, if we lose, Danny and Sarah become your legal guardians. They control your bank accounts, your house, your medical care. They can put you in any nursing home they choose. You would have almost no rights. And if we win? If we win, you keep your freedom, your money, and your dignity. And they might go to jail for theft. Rose closed her eyes. Tomorrow, her entire future would be decided by strangers in a courtroom. Everything she'd worked for, saved for, and lived for hung in the balance. But Rose Thompson hadn't survived the Great Depression, raised 4 children alone, and worked 3 jobs by giving up when things got tough. Tomorrow, she would fight for her life. And she would win. Because the alternative was unthinkable. Rose woke up at 5 a.m. in Mrs. Chen's guest room, her heart already racing. Today was the day that would decide her entire future. Vincent Martinez picked her up at 7 a.m. sharp. He looked serious but confident. Mrs. Thompson, are you ready for this? I've been ready for 70 years, Rose said, straightening her best blue dress, the one she wore to church every Sunday for 20 years. The courthouse was a big, scary building made of gray stone. Rose's legs felt shaky as they walked up the steps, but Vincent held her arm steady. Remember, he said quietly, answer every question clearly and loudly. Look the judge in the eye. Show him you're sharp, aware, and completely capable of making your own decisions. Inside the courtroom, Rose saw Danny and Sarah sitting with their lawyer, a thin man in an expensive suit who looked like a snake in fancy clothes. Danny wouldn't meet her eyes. Sarah was dabbing her eyes with tissues, playing the role of the worried daughter-in-law. All rise. The Honorable Judge Patricia Williams presiding. A stern-looking woman in black robes entered. Rose's heart sank. This judge looked like she'd heard a million sob stories and believed none of them. Be seated. This is the matter of Thompson versus Thompson, emergency guardianship petition. Mr. Bradley, you may present your case. Danny and Sarah's lawyer stood up. Thank you, Your Honor. My clients, Danny Thompson and Sarah Martinez Thompson, are here today because they love Mrs. Rose Thompson and are deeply concerned about her declining mental state. Rose wanted to scream. Instead, she squeezed her hands together and stayed quiet. Your Honor, Mrs. Thompson is 70 years old and showing clear signs of dementia, paranoia, and financial incompetence. Just yesterday, she called police on her own family members, accusing them of theft when they were simply helping her manage her affairs. The lawyer held up a folder thick with papers. We have medical documentation from Dr. Peterson indicating memory loss and confusion. We have video evidence of Mrs. Thompson forgetting basic information. We have bank records showing erratic spending that my clients had to control to protect her assets.
Lies.
All lies. Rose's fingernails dug into her palms. Your Honor, Mrs. Thompson climbed out of her bedroom window yesterday and disappeared for hours. She's living with neighbors instead of family. This behavior indicates someone who cannot make safe, rational decisions about her own welfare. Judge Williams looked at Rose with concern. Mrs. Thompson, is it true that you climbed out of a window? Rose stood up. Vincent had told her to be confident and clear. Yes, Your Honor. I climbed out of my own bedroom window in my own house to escape from people who were threatening to control my life and steal my money. Mrs. Thompson, the judge said gently, that sounds like paranoid behavior. Why didn't you simply walk out the front door? Because they were blocking me, Your Honor. They took my car keys. They were listening to my phone calls. They threatened to take my phone away. I felt like a prisoner in my own home. Danny's lawyer jumped up. Your Honor, this is exactly what we're talking about. Mrs. Thompson believes her loving family members are holding her prisoner. This is classic paranoid delusion. Judge Williams looked troubled. Rose could see her losing. Mr. Martinez, your client does appear to be exhibiting paranoid ideation. Vincent stood up calmly. Your Honor, if I may call my first witness? Proceed. I call Dr. Rebecca Foster, neuropsychologist. A professional-looking woman approached the witness stand. Dr. Foster, did you examine Mrs. Thompson yesterday? I did. I administered a complete battery of cognitive tests including memory assessment, logical reasoning, financial competency evaluation, and mental status examination. What were your findings? Mrs. Thompson scored in the 95th percentile for her age group. Her memory is excellent, her reasoning is superior, and her understanding of financial matters is better than most people I test, regardless of age. Rose felt hope bloom in her chest. Dr. Foster, in your professional opinion, does Mrs. Thompson suffer from dementia, paranoia, or any condition that would impair her ability to make her own decisions? Absolutely not. Mrs. Thompson is mentally sharp, emotionally stable, and fully capable of managing her own affairs. Danny's lawyer stood up. Objection. Dr. Foster only spent one day with Mrs. Thompson. Dr. Peterson has been her family doctor for years. Your Honor, Vincent said smoothly, Dr. Peterson never actually examined Mrs. Thompson for cognitive issues. He signed a form based on a phone call from the petitioners. Dr. Foster is a specialist in cognitive assessment. I'll allow it. Continue, Mr. Martinez. I call Mrs. Linda Chen. Mrs. Chen walked to the witness stand, looking nervous but determined. Mrs. Chen, do you live next door to Mrs. Thompson? Yes, for 15 years. Have you observed her behavior recently?
Yes.
Rose is one of the sharpest people I know. She helps me with my computer, gives me gardening advice, and manages her own household perfectly. Have you observed interactions between Mrs. Thompson and the petitioners? Mrs. Chen's face got hard. I've seen Danny yell at his mother. I've seen Sarah take shopping bags from Rose's house every day, while Rose looked sad and scared. I've heard arguments where they called her stupid and threatened to put her in a nursing home. This is hearsay. Danny's lawyer objected. Your Honor, Mrs. Chen is testifying about what she personally observed, Vincent replied. I'll allow it. Vincent pulled out his phone. Mrs. Chen, Are these the text messages Mrs. Thompson received from Danny Thompson 2 nights ago? Mrs. Chen read the messages out loud. Fine. Have it your way. But tomorrow, when you're declared incompetent and we become your guardians, remember that you chose this. We try to be nice. The judge's eyebrows shot up. Mr. Thompson sent threatening messages about this proceeding? Danny's lawyer looked panicked. Your Honor, my client was simply expressing frustration about his mother's concerning behavior. Vincent wasn't finished. Your Honor, I'd like to call Detective Maria Santos. A police officer in uniform approached the witness stand. Detective Santos, did you respond to a call about financial elder abuse? I did. Mrs. Thompson reported unauthorized use of her bank accounts totaling over $8,000. What did your investigation reveal? We found evidence of systematic financial abuse, unauthorized ATM withdrawals, purchases the victim never made, and credit accounts opened without her knowledge. Did the petitioners admit to using Mrs. Thompson's financial accounts? They admitted to having her debit card and using it regularly. They claimed they had permission, but they had no written authorization. Danny's lawyer tried to interrupt, but Vincent kept going. Your Honor, I'd like to show the court Exhibit A, Mrs. Thompson's handwritten notebook documenting 3 months of financial irregularities. Rose watched as Vincent showed her little blue notebook to the judge. The judge read page after page, her expression getting darker and darker. Mrs. Thompson, the judge said, you documented all of these incidents as they happened? Yes, Your Honor. I wrote down every lie, every stolen dollar, every time they made me feel stupid for asking questions about my own money. This notebook shows careful observation and record-keeping over several months. This is not the work of someone with cognitive impairment. Danny's lawyer was sweating now. Your Honor, we'd like to show the video evidence of Mrs. Thompson's confusion. Proceed. They played a video on a laptop. It showed Rose looking confused and asking the same question twice. Your Honor, Vincent said, may I ask when this video was taken? Danny's lawyer checked his notes. 3 months ago. Mrs. Thompson, do you remember this incident? Rose studied the video.
Yes.
That was the day they told me my sister Margaret had been in a car accident and was in the hospital. I was panicked and asking if we should fly to Florida. Later I found out they lied. Margaret was fine. They made up the emergency to upset me, then filmed me while I was scared and crying. The courtroom was silent. Vincent addressed the judge. Your Honor, the petitioners deliberately created stressful situations to make Mrs. Thompson appear confused, then secretly filmed her reactions. This is manipulation and emotional abuse. Judge Williams looked at Danny and Sarah with disgust. Is this true? Did you fabricate emergencies to upset your mother and then film her? Danny's face was bright red. We were just documenting. She gets confused sometimes. Liar. Rose stood up, her voice strong and clear. Your Honor, they stole my money, lied to me every single day, threatened to put me in a nursing home, and tried to make me think I was going crazy. I am not confused. I am not paranoid. I'm a woman who discovered her own family was robbing her blind. The judge banged her gavel. Mrs. Thompson, please be seated. But Rose wasn't finished. Your Honor, I survived the Great Depression. I raised 4 children alone after my husband died. I worked 3 jobs to keep my family fed and housed. I am not a helpless old woman who needs Danny and Sarah to take care of me. I need them to stop stealing from me. The courtroom was completely quiet. Judge Williams stared at Rose for a long moment. Mrs. Thompson, please be seated. I've heard enough. Rose sat down, her heart pounding. She couldn't tell if she'd helped or hurt her case. Judge Williams looked at Danny and Sarah with ice in her eyes. In 30 years on this bench, I have rarely seen such a clear case of financial elder abuse disguised as concern. The evidence shows systematic theft, emotional manipulation, and fraudulent attempts to gain control of Mrs. Thompson's assets. Danny started to stand up, but the judge cut him off. Sit down, Mr. Thompson. Mrs. Thompson is clearly mentally competent, financially aware, and fully capable of making her own decisions. The petition for guardianship is denied. Rose felt like she might faint with relief. Furthermore, the judge continued, I'm ordering the immediate return of all funds taken from Mrs. Thompson's accounts. I'm also issuing a restraining order requiring Mr. Thompson and Ms. Martinez Thompson to stay away from Mrs. Thompson's residence for a period of 1 year. Your Honor, Danny's lawyer protested. My clients live in that house. Not anymore, they don't. They have 48 hours to remove their belongings under police supervision. Rose felt tears of joy streaming down her face. Finally, Judge Williams said, I'm referring this case to the District Attorney's Office for criminal prosecution. Financial elder abuse is a felony in this state. As they left the courtroom, Rose felt like she was floating. She'd won. She'd actually won. Danny tried to approach her in the hallway, but Vincent stepped between them. Rose, please, Danny said, his voice broken. I'm your son. I love you. Rose looked at the man who used to be her little boy. Love doesn't steal, Danny. Love doesn't lie. Love doesn't threaten. You're not the son I raised. For the first time in months, Rose Thompson walked out of a building with her head held high, her dignity intact, and her future in her own hands. She was free. 6 months later, Rose Thompson stood in her kitchen making coffee, the same kitchen where this whole nightmare began. But everything was different now. The house felt alive again. Sunlight streamed through clean windows. Fresh flowers sat on the table, and the fear that had lived in Rose's chest for so long was finally gone. The doorbell rang, and Rose smiled. She knew exactly who it was. Good morning, Vincent, she said, opening the door to find her lawyer. No, her friend, holding 2 cups of coffee and a bag of fresh pastries.
Good morning, Rose.
Ready for another day of changing the world. Over the past 6 months, Rose and Vincent had become an unstoppable team. After her court victory, Rose discovered she wasn't the only grandmother being robbed by her own family. Vincent's law office was full of elderly people with similar stories. So Rose did something amazing. She became a fighter for others. Every Tuesday and Thursday, Rose volunteered at Vincent's office, helping other grandparents recognize the signs of financial abuse. She shared her story, showed them how to keep records, and held their hands when they were scared. Mrs. Martinez is coming in today, Vincent said as they sat at Rose's kitchen table. Her daughter has been taking money for emergencies for 2 years. I'll talk to her, Rose said firmly. I'll show her my notebook. I'll tell her she's not crazy. She's not being paranoid, and it's not her fault. Rose had learned that the hardest part wasn't proving the theft. It was convincing victims that they deserved better from their own families. The phone rang. Rose answered with a strong, confident voice. Thompson residence. Mrs. Thompson? This is Channel 7 News. We'd like to interview you about your work helping elder abuse victims. Are you available this afternoon? Rose looked at Vincent, who nodded encouragingly. Yes, I'm available. It's time more people heard about this. After she hung up, Vincent reached across the table and took her hand. Rose, you've become the most powerful advocate for seniors in the state. You've helped dozens of people save their life savings and their dignity. Rose squeezed his hand. Over the months, Vincent had become much more than her lawyer. He was her partner in every way that mattered. Vincent, 6 months ago, I felt like a helpless old woman. Now I feel like I can take on the world. You are taking on the world. And winning. That afternoon, Rose sat in front of TV cameras and told her story to thousands of viewers. If you're an older person and your family is asking for money all the time, listen to your gut, she said, looking directly into the camera. If they get angry when you ask questions about your own money, something is wrong. If they tell you you're too old or too confused to handle your finances, they're lying. The interviewer asked, what would you say to families who are financially abusing elderly relatives? Rose's voice got strong and serious. Stop. Just stop. The money you're stealing isn't just dollars. It's your mother's security, your father's dignity, your grandmother's independence. When you take that away, you're not just stealing money. You're stealing their life. And what about forgiveness? Have you forgiven your son? Rose was quiet for a moment. Danny calls me sometimes. He's in therapy now, trying to understand why he did what he did. Sarah left him after the trial. Turns out she was stealing from other elderly people in town too. She's in jail now. Do you think you'll ever have a relationship with your son again? Maybe someday. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. And it doesn't mean letting someone hurt you again. Danny has to prove he's changed, not just say he's sorry. After the interview, Rose and Vincent went to dinner at their favorite restaurant, the little Italian place where Vincent had taken her to celebrate their court victory. Rose, Vincent said over cannellate pasta, I have something to ask you. Rose's heart skipped. At 70 years old, she never thought she'd feel butterflies again. Rose Thompson, you are the strongest, smartest, most beautiful woman I've ever known. You've taught me that age is just a number and that the heart never stops growing. Vincent pulled out a small velvet box. Will you marry me? Rose stared at the simple, elegant ring sparkling in the candlelight. 6 months ago, she thought her life was over. Now a whole new adventure was beginning. Vincent Martinez, yes. 1,000 times yes. The whole restaurant cheered and applauded. Rose laughed through happy tears, feeling like a teenager again. 1 year later, Rose and Vincent had a beautiful wedding in Rose's backyard, the same backyard where she used to feel like a prisoner. Now it was filled with friends, neighbors, and dozens of elderly people whose lives Rose had saved. Mrs. Chun was the maid of honor. Detective Santos came with her family. Judge Williams even stopped by to congratulate them. You know what the best part is? Rose told Vincent during their first dance. What's that? I'm 71 years old, and I'm just getting started. Rose's new life was full of purpose and joy. She and Vincent traveled to conferences where Rose taught other lawyers how to spot elder abuse. They visited nursing homes where Rose showed residents how to protect themselves from family members who might try to take advantage. Rose wrote a book called Fighting Back, A Grandmother's Guide to Financial Independence. It became a bestseller and helped thousands of seniors protect themselves. But the most important thing Rose did was something simple. She listened to other elderly people. She sat with them, held their hands, and told them they weren't alone. Your instincts are right, she would tell them. You're not too old to understand money. You're not being paranoid. And you deserve to be treated with respect by your own family. 2 years after the trial, Danny called Rose on her birthday. Mom? It's Danny. I wanted to say happy birthday. Rose had been expecting this call. Vincent squeezed her hand supportively. Thank you, Danny. Mom, I've been in therapy for 2 years now. I understand what I did to you. I understand that I hurt you in ways that can't be undone. I'm glad you're getting help. I don't expect you to forgive me. I wanted you to know that I'm proud of you. What you're doing, helping other people, it's amazing. You're a hero, Mom. Rose felt tears in her eyes, but they were different tears than before. Not tears of pain, but tears of hope. Danny, I do forgive you. But forgiveness doesn't mean things go back to the way they were. If you want to be part of my life again, you have to earn that trust. I understand. And Mom, I love you. The real kind of love. The kind that wants what's best for you, not what's best for me. Maybe someday they could rebuild their relationship. But Rose had learned that she didn't need Danny's love to be complete. She had Vincent, her work, her purpose, and most importantly, she had herself. On her 75th birthday, Rose stood in front of 500 people at the National Conference on Elder Rights. 5 years ago, I was a scared old woman who thought her life was ending, she said. Today, I'm here to tell you that it's never too late to fight back. It's never too late to demand respect. It's never too late to start over. The crowd gave her a standing ovation that lasted 5 minutes. To every person listening, your age doesn't make you powerless. Your gray hair doesn't make you stupid. Your wrinkles don't make you weak. You have survived decades of life. That makes you strong. Rose looked out at the audience, hundreds of seniors sitting up straighter, looking more confident. Trust your instincts. Ask questions. Keep records. And remember, people who truly love you will never make you feel stupid for protecting yourself. As Rose walked off the stage, Vincent was waiting with a huge smile and fresh flowers. How does it feel to be the most famous grandmother in America?
Rose laughed.
It feels like I'm finally living the life I was meant to live. That evening, Rose and Vincent sat on their back porch, watching the sunset and planning their next trip, this time to teach seniors in rural areas how to protect themselves from financial abuse. Rose's phone buzzed with messages from people all over the country. Thank you for saving my life. You gave me the courage to fight back. Because of you, I kept my house. Vincent, Rose said, do you think we're making a real difference? Rose, you've personally helped over 200 families keep their money and their dignity. Your book has reached millions. Your story has inspired people all over the world. Yes, you're making a difference. Rose smiled, feeling the deep satisfaction of a life well lived. You know what I learned through all of this? What? Family isn't just about blood. Family is about people who protect you, support you, and want what's best for you. You're my family, Vincent. Mrs. Chun is my family. All those people we help, they're my family. And Danny. Danny might earn his way back into my family someday, but he'll never again be allowed to hurt me. As the sun set on another beautiful day, Rose Thompson, survivor, fighter, hero, and beloved wife, looked forward to tomorrow with excitement instead of fear. At 75 years old, she was living proof that the best chapters of life often come after the hardest trials. Her story wasn't ending. It was just beginning. Call to action. Rose's story could be your story, or the story of someone you love. Financial elder abuse affects millions of grandparents, parents, and elderly relatives every year. The people closest to them, their own children, grandchildren, and caregivers, steal over $30 billion annually from seniors. Here's what you can do right now. Share this story. Share this post with every person you know who has elderly relatives. Knowledge is power, and this story could save someone's life savings and dignity. Watch for warning signs. Family members constantly asking for money. Elderly relatives seeming confused about their finances. New helpers who isolate seniors from friends. Unexplained changes in wills or bank accounts. Seniors who seem fearful of certain family members. Take action. If you suspect elder abuse, call the National Elder Abuse Hotline, 1-800-677-1116. Contact local adult protective services. Help them find an elder law attorney. Document everything, dates, amounts, conversations. Be a hero like Rose. Look out for elderly neighbors, relatives, and friends. Ask how they're doing with their finances. Listen if they express concerns about family members. Sometimes just believing them can save their life. Share your story. If you or someone you love has experienced elder financial abuse, share your story in the comments below. Your experience could help someone else recognize the warning signs. Hit that subscribe button for more powerful true stories that expose injustice and celebrate the courage of ordinary people fighting back. Remember Rose's words, your age doesn't make you powerless. Your gray hair doesn't make you stupid. Your wrinkles don't make you weak. You have survived decades of life. That makes you strong. Share this post right now. It could save someone's entire life savings.